This couple in their mid-20s went from stuck in the credit card trap to saving over $1,000 every single week, and they did it without big six-figure incomes. There's a super important lesson in this story that anyone can learn from. So these guys, when we first started working together, they were earning like incomes that were actually below the average income. One of them was a teacher, one of them was a manager, and they were really just getting started about getting serious on their money journey. They had some big goals that they wanted to get, but they had no real system in place and no real money behind them. They also had this bit of niggling credit card debt that they just couldn't seem to get out of that spending cycle. When we started working together, we spent some time to unpack their plans, the things that they wanted to do. The big ones were that they wanted to firstly get married, they wanted to buy a property, and they knew that they wanted to start a family into the future. All pretty big goals that they knew they were going to need some money to be able to provide for. When we started doing their planning, we showed them how their savings and investments would grow if they were to save at different rates over time. And they saw that in order to do this, they were going to need to stick to a budget. They'd done budgets before and they hadn't worked, but this time when we put the budget in place, we set it up, or we backed it up with a banking system where they had different banking buckets, so they had the right money in the right place at the right times, making it easier for them to save and making it clear to them how much money they could spend while sticking to their budget. Now, they didn't nail it from the start. In fact, in the early days, that it was sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, where they'd make a bit of progress, then things would get a bit off track. But they kept their focus moving forward, and they shifted their behavior so that they built different habits around their spending and how they manage their money, and ended up getting to a point where it was a lot easier for them to save. Now, because of this focus, they build up their savings, but because they were younger, they were only in their early 20s, that they started getting pay rises and promotions and earning more money. But because they had a good system in place, it meant that when they got the higher income, they were able to capture more of it. Like they did increase their spending, but they did also capture quite a lot into savings. And that's how they got to the point where they were saving over $1,000 a week. And that was after they bought their first investment property and paid for their wedding, honeymoon, and kept some savings in the bank along the way. Now, I've worked with a lot of people with incomes a lot higher than these people that end up saving a lot less. And that's because they have no system in place, and money's really easy to spend. So it's really easy that the money just evaporates. But because these guys focus on their system, they were able to do all these things and crank up their savings. Shows the power of focus and building habits around your spending so that you're actually profiting as your income increases over time.